The Power of Vision, a story of a young boy from a very remote village with a dream to become the president of his country someday. The village of Amanfo was a whisper on the map, a cluster of mud brick homes nestled deep within the fertile valleys, far from the hum of cities and the clamor of national politics. Life there moved with the rhythm of the seasons, planting, harvest, and the quiet camaraderie of shared meals under a sky so vast it humbled the soul. For the children of Amanfo, dreams were typically as tangible as the earth beneath their feet, a bountiful harvest, a healthy family, perhaps one day owning a bicycle. But 10-year-old Quasi harbored a dream so audacious, so incongruous with his surroundings, that it was often met with gentle amusement or outright disbelief. From the moment he first saw the flickering, grainy image of the nation's president on a borrowed transistor television, brought to the village square for a special communal viewing, something ignited within him. The president, a man in a crisp suit, spoke with authority, his words reaching even Amanfo, shaping the lives of millions. "I will be that man," Quasi declared to his grandmother, who was shelling groundnuts. She merely smiled, patting his head. "You will be a good man, my son. That is what matters." Only Baba Kofi, the village's oldest storyteller, a man whose eyes held the depth of ancient rivers, seemed to truly hear him. He would find Quasi by the river, skipping stones, his gaze distant. "Still seeing the presidential palace, little chief?" he'd ask. "Yes, Baba," Quasi would reply, his young voice firm. "I see it clearly, and I see a road from Amanfo to every village like ours, and schools with books for every child." Baba Kofi would simply nod, a knowing glint in his eyes. A vision, Quasi, is not just a dream. It is a roadmap drawn in the heart, waiting for the feet to follow. The roadmap was incredibly challenging. Amanfo's school had crumbling walls and 2 tattered textbooks for 30 children. Formal education beyond primary level was a luxury few could afford, and for a child from Quasi's family, it seemed an impossibility. His peers, engrossed in chasing the sun with a tattered football, would tease him. "Quasi the president, what will you rule, the goats?" But Quasi's vision was a burning ember. While others played, he devoured every scrap of news, every discarded newspaper that found its way into Amanfo. He'd sit with Baba Kofi, asking about ancient leaders, about justice, about community. He taught himself to read the few English books Baba Kofi possessed, copying words onto banana leaves, his determination a silent force. He knew he had to leave Amanfo, but the thought filled him with dread and excitement in equal measure. At 16, after years of saving meager earnings from helping farmers, and with a small, precious pouch of coins from Baba Kofi, Quasi embarked on the journey to the capital city, a place of towering buildings and ceaseless noise. The city was a shock, a dazzling, overwhelming beast that threatened to swallow his vision whole. He was a boy from the village, small, naive, and invisible amidst the throngs. He worked tirelessly, washing dishes in a bustling eatery, carrying goods in the market, cleaning offices at dawn. Every waking hour was a battle against fatigue and despair. Many times, the sheer impossibility of his dream, whispered by the city's harsh indifference, threatened to crush him. "Go back to your village, boy," a street vendor once scoffed, hearing Quasi's accent. "Politics is for the city born, for those with names and money, not for a village stray." Yet, each time doubt crept in, Quasi would close his eyes and see Amanfo, its quiet struggles, its untapped potential, the faces of his people. He'd see the president on that grainy TV screen, and the vision, clear and compelling, would reignite. It was his anchor, his compass. It told him why he was enduring, why he had to keep going. He saved enough for night classes, then, miraculously, secured a scholarship to study public administration at a local university. He was often the oldest student in his class, his hands calloused from work, his clothes simple, but his mind was sharp, hungry. His professors, initially skeptical, soon recognized the depth of his insight, the passion in his debates about rural development and governance. His experiences from Amanfo, once a source of shame, became his unique strength, informing his understanding of the real challenges facing the nation. After university, Quasi didn't seek personal wealth. He joined a small, principled NGO dedicated to community empowerment, working tirelessly in villages like his own, advocating for clean water, better schools, and fair trade. He understood the heartbeat of the common people because it was his heartbeat. People saw his dedication, his honesty, his unwavering belief in the potential of the country. They remembered the young man who didn't forget where he came from. His entry into politics was gradual, organic. He started at the local level, winning over communities with his clear, actionable vision. He rose through the ranks, facing entrenched corruption, cynical opponents, and repeated dismissals of his humble origins. He's just a village boy, what does he know of governing a nation? They'd sneer in Parliament, but Quasi's vision was a shield against their scorn and a sword for his purpose. It wasn't about power for himself, it was about the path he had seen, the roadmap for his country. His speeches, devoid of empty rhetoric, were powerful because they were genuine, rooted in his journey. He spoke of bridging the gap between urban and rural, of education as a birthright, of transparent governance, themes he had envisioned under the mango tree years ago. Then came the presidential elections. His candidacy was initially dismissed as a long shot, a symbolic gesture. The media focused on the well-known, well-funded candidates. Quasi, however, traveled to every corner of the nation, to villages that had never seen a presidential candidate, speaking simply, earnestly, about his vision. He didn't promise miracles, but he offered hope, integrity, and a clear direction. The nation watched, some in amusement, many in quiet admiration. His campaign was grassroots, fueled by volunteers and the belief of ordinary citizens. The cynics scoffed, the established parties ridiculed, but Quasi pressed on, his vision shining brighter than any political advertisement. Election night was tense. The results trickled in, defying expectations. The impossible began to unfold. And then, the announcement came. Quasi, the boy from Amanfo, the once ridiculed dreamer, had won. His inauguration was a moment etched in history. He stood on the grand platform, looking out at the cheering crowds, and for a moment, his eyes scanned the distance, seeing not just the capital, but the verdant hills of Amanfo. Baba Kofi, frail but beaming, sat in the front row, his eyes filled with quiet triumph. In his inaugural address, President Quasi spoke of his journey. They said it was impossible, he said, his voice clear and strong. They said a boy from a remote village could not understand the complexities of this great nation. But I carried a vision in my heart. A vision of a better future, a future where every child, no matter how remote their village, can dream without limits. That vision was my compass, my strength, my unwavering guide through every storm. He had not just become president, he had become living proof that the power of a clear, persistent vision, nurtured by dedication and resilience, could transform the most unlikely of paths into a destiny. The whispers of Amanfo had indeed reached the highest office, carried there by the boy who dared to dream beyond the horizon.